Yeah, I mean, it's easy for me to say. I mean, you know, as a white police officer, but what I do see is when we've had serious issues happen in some of our most challenging boroughs, in Lambeth, in Hackney, in Haringey, places like that, the support from the community is completely different from it was from years ago. There is a greater trust now. There's still challenge, obviously, there will always be in any policing situation, but the support from the community is far greater than it ever was. The information that we get from the community about crack houses, about gunmen, all of that is up vastly over the years. And you know, we involve the local community. Each borough in London has an independent advisory group. We have people come into our police stations who years ago would never have dreamt of coming through the door. They know us by our first names, they ring us up, and they challenge us. You know, people like Lee Jasper continue to challenge us, and rightly so. But we're up for that challenge, and we're open. We're a much more open organisation than we've ever been before. But you know, don't get me wrong, I'm not complacent about this. There's always more to do, and I'm sure the experience of a young black teenager on the street, you know, is entirely different from mine.
They'll choose Tottenham, they'll choose Brixton, they'll choose wherever it is, Walthamstow, I don't know. But those are areas that were predominant. You know, if you go to other areas that has a high crime rate, but there's less black people, you'll probably find that there's more crime happening in those places than there are in the black areas. You know, so once again, they're picking and choosing and centralizing their views all for this public image that black people are bogus people, you know, that they are the problem, push them out, that kind of, you know, those kind of views. So once again, those statistics is almost like another little, you know, conspiracy and excuse to say, look at what these black people are doing. We need to create a martial law, we need to create a reform with these people.
I do believe that many times a lot of these people are biased, and I see those things as a way of perpetuating a myth. You know, the black man is not good, and wherever you see them, you walk through the door, somebody says to you, "Can I help you?" and they watch you around the camera, even the white people will be nicking things out of the shop and leaving the shop, and the black man is being followed around the shop, you know. I'm sorry to say that, but that's actually what happens, you know. So the thieves are getting away with a lot of things, and I could have walked in, but because statistics tells them that the black people commit more crimes, so wherever you see them, you follow them around. Do you understand what I mean? But I'm sorry about that, but that's my belief. I don't tend to subscribe to those kind of thinking, you know.
I'm very skeptical that you label violent crime in one particular community, black and black. When you have a white person shooting a white person and an Asian person shooting an Asian person, why isn't that white and white or Asian and Asian? Why is a black person shooting a black person not just a violent crime or murder? Why is it given this special type, black and black? Because I'm sure the majorities of murder in the UK is white and white. That's the population. They're predominantly white. So most of the murders, by necessity, will have to be white and white. Why isn't it the tag white and white crime? Why is it this special attention?
Every single time I hear like a crime being committed or any incident, and if it involves a black person, I get that really disappointing feeling, thinking, oh God, not again, sort of thing, you know. I feel let down because at the end of the day, they represent me. Indirectly, they do represent me, because as a black person out there, when I walk down the road, all people can see, they don't know me personally, they don't know anyone. All they can see is a black person, and then you get grouped together and think, well, all black people are thieves, or all black people are druggists, or, you know. So I do get that kind of feeling, and not only that, I've got 2 young black men, right, growing up, and I'm doing my best, like, to show them the right way, you know, and without being they're labelled from the day they were born. They get labelled. They're young black men, and they're troublemakers, and they're thieves, and, you know, that sort of thing. And that it reaches sometimes to the point where, you know, it can be quite upsetting, because I'm thinking to myself, you know, some black guy decides to go and grab somebody's purse, and right behind him, my son could be walking down the road innocently, you know, and he get put upon just because of who he is.
For crime, I think it's black people, commit a lot than anybody. For example, sometimes passengers abuse bus drivers and the conductors and all this kind of thing. You find the majority of them are blacks. Let's say, for instance, the fare is 50p, right? When the other countries, like the English people themselves or whatever, they come on the bus, they pay their fare nicely, and they sit down. Even if it's a problem and the buses are running late or something like that, they ask you politely, driver, is there any problem? Because they knew there must be a problem. That's why the buses are running late. By people like Jamaicans, sorry to say that, at the age of 35 upwards, that old Jamaican women's terrible. And if you come to the youngsters at the age of about 18 to 25, always they try to cheat the bus driver. They don't want to pay the right fare. Sometimes they give you your dodgy passes. So when you call them up, it's my job to make sure everybody pays before you go. And they start abusing or they start very aggressive, which is nobody knows. But though everybody does it, but the majority of them is blacks.
So I would say that the black people, majority of us has not lived to the standard that is expected of them. And what has driven them to these kind of violent crimes that we've been reading in papers of recent is something that the society will have to work towards and try to find a solution before these things set up,
Racism is a set of ideas and beliefs about a group of people, not an individual, but a group of people, and it is a set of congenitally held beliefs, that actually have no substance whatsoever, that people are superior and inferior. In other words, racism has a power dimension. It's about controlling forces, it's about controlling groups, controlling nations, controlling people, and that's why racism grew up in the 16th and 17th century as, if you like, the ideology of colonialism. So it actually provide the rational belief system, so-called rational belief system, to enslave black people, to take over the countries of African peoples, of Asian peoples and everybody else, on the basis that whites were superior and blacks were inferior.
I think it's quite regrettable that after many years of black race developing in this country, that are still subjected to unnecessary humiliation.
I don't look at racism as black and white. I look at racism as religion, as creed, as where you come from, as where you live. Racism can be taken on various different levels. So if we're talking about the difference between black people and white people, I don't think there is racism today in the way that people still think that it used to be. It's moved on from there. I think if anything now it's too politically correct. Everything is too politically correct at the moment. I don't see why in a free country we have to watch what we say or what colour we do or what this or what that. I think at the end of the day that's garbage. It's an individual thing. If anybody that I know in my lifetime has been affected by a form of racism in one way or another, and that includes myself, and I'm a white guy. So to me the definition of racism between black and white is garbage. I think people live in the past. I think people have not moved on from that. I think people are still trying to latch on to something that is no longer an issue.
Depends on the context.